8:41 on your Monday. It is Easter Monday. It is April Fool's Day. And it is another day, Sid, Mayor, Breakfast Television. Good morning. It is actually officially Sourdough Day. That's right. We are going to be learning everything about sourdough to celebrate, and join us this morning on tips on how we can become the pros that we know we can be. A pro with the dough is chef and sourdough enthusiast. I like that, Matthew James Duffy. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. We're gonna get our hands dirty, and we're gonna talk a little bit about sourdough.
Yes.
And hopefully, I'm gonna make it really approachable for you, because it's often overly complicated.
Yeah, I've been very standoffish on sourdough for a while, just because I don't want to screw it up. But during the pandemic, as we all know, sourdough had and continues to have many moments. Why in that moment, of all the things, it was like toilet paper and sourdough?
Yeah, people gravitate.
Why was it sourdough during the pandemic?
I mean, I think there's a couple things. One is it's not a lot of hands-on time, but it is a lot of time. So if you're in and out of the house, but when you're at home, it's easy to sort of do the steps really slowly. There's that kind of homesteading, wanting to do all these things for yourself, making your own food, and I think it's a bit addicting. Once you kind of start, you want to learn it. You have a fail, you have a success. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. You go like, I'm on top of the world, I'm the best baker ever, and then the next bake you're down here, and you're just trying to climb back up that hill again.
Can be a humbling experience, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Well, and I mean, you've blown up on social media. I mean, this really is an expertise of yours. Sourdough. Almost 200,000 people following you on Instagram.
Yeah, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. It's just something that sort of hooked me as well in the beginning, and it's at the start you said we're going to learn everything, but really this is a never-ending process. It never stops the learning with baking.
Always growing.
Yeah, you're always growing.
Pardon the pun.
There's always something new. You're always rising.
Always rising.
There it is.
All right, so from the beginning, where do you start?
I know there's a mother.
Yeah, so we actually brought two mothers.
Okay.
You definitely don't need to.
Is that the actual term mother?
Yes.
Mother culture.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
In Italian, they call pasta madre, levito madre. So this would be a rye starter, meaning 100% rye flour. This is something that I would use for making whole grain breads like this one here.
Beautiful.
And we have here a white starter that has a little bit of rye in it. So rye actually has a very high amylase activity and is high in sugar. So what's happening here is the wild yeast in the flour, the fermentation process, is consuming the sugars in the flour and producing CO2. Basically, it's farting. It's just a bunch of dough farts, and that's what makes.
Go on.
That's what makes the beautiful. It's like every living thing, right, produces gas, but that's where you get those nice pockets of air. So what we're trying to do here is manage the starter so that it can rise up and leaven our breads.
And between the two of them, if people are just watching home and deciding to start, is there an easier one to begin with, the rye one or the non?
So this is easier to make.
Okay.
It's easier because the fermentation's better. This one's easier to sort of watch. And one of the things you can do is, I've got a little bowl of water here. You can just put a little tiny bit in the water, and it should kind of float to show you that it's ripe and ready. Well, this is a little underripe, but it'll really, once you get there, if I didn't squish it, it might float. It'll really start to float in the way. You can see it there. There you go.
For the
So that means that there's thank you.
No problem.
So that would show you that there's enough CO2 in your starter and you're ready to go. It takes about 5 to 7 days if you start from scratch. Another big myth out there is that you need a really old starter, but you actually don't at all, and it's total marketing. You can make just as good a bread with a 10-day-old starter as a 100-year-old starter. There's no difference.
That I remember vividly from the pandemic. So
old
starter.
Yeah,
but that's a fallacy.
Don't get me wrong, it's a nice story.
Yeah.
I got this from my mom. They passed it down. I bought it from Italy. Doesn't make the bread any better though.
Okay.
So once we've managed our starter, we're gonna mix a dough. So this is very hands-on. You can use a machine. I brought a dough down, and I thought what we could do is I can actually get you to do what's called a fold. So when we take a look at the dough,
some of this. Yeah, sorry.
Give it a wiggle. Give it a wiggle.
Wow, that's.
Look
you
at
can
that.
see it's very.
Oh, I love that.
Soft and this is why it's so much fun though.
Wiggle.
This is exactly why bread making is so much fun, right?
I love it.
All the steps are exciting.
Did I break it? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We're actually going to do what's called a fold, or some people call it a stretch and fold, and this is going to develop strength. It's going to regulate temperature, and it's going to slightly degas our dough so that we can get a better volume.
All right, Chef, we got about 90 seconds. Take control.
Go for it. So here you go. You're going to wet your hands. And you're going to stretch it up like this.
Okay.
And just throw it over. Go for it.
Are you doing this or am I doing this?
I'll hold the bin.
I don't trust myself with that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Don't lose the engagement ring. Okay.
Big, right up here, right up here. Yeah, there you go.
And then throw it
All
down?
right. Throw it down, but a little bit ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh.
And then at the very end,
That felt amazing.
you just flip it over. You can see that we lost a lot of volume, but that's a good thing.
Is that a good thing? Okay.
So-
and then we cover that back up again.
Cover that back up,
So we
let
got
it
the
rise.
mothers and the dough, and then the step 3 of
And then we're gonna shape
look
it.
how nice they are.
Beautiful.
Okay.
A little bit of flour here. So just dust the top of the loaf. I'm gonna scrape it off of here. Usually you would use a dough scraper if you didn't forget to bring your dough scraper.
Okay.
No, I'm glad that you did
Place
because
that in
we might
front.
not have that at
Yes.
home.
That's actually
Right?
a good point.
Yes.
Yeah. Use a little cheese scraper.
Okay.
So we're just gonna flatten this out. You want to do it together?
Sure,
We
let's
yeah,
do
we
it.
definitely
There
do.
you go.
Yeah.
So we'll give that one to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Flatten it out.
Yeah, just
Right?
kind of flatten
It feels
it out a little
amazing.
bit.
Sid. Yeah.
So then you can
This is a game changer.
bring the bottom and press it in.
But I think probably
If
that's
you
why
want, you
people
can
got
put a little
so
bit of-
into it because
Pretty sure I'm not doing
There you
this.
go. Yep, that's
Okay,
good.
feels
I'm
so
good.
great.
And bring the sides out a little
Sides
bit.
out a little bit. All right.
Stretch
Kind of
Sit.
seal it.
Seal it.
Little envelope.
There he
Fold
goes.
it. Knead it. Fold it.
The top can come down.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you're just gonna kind of roll it up like this.
Roll it up.
Okay.
Come on,
I'm not.
Sid.
I'm not.
A little
Look
bit
at-
of flour in the
There it is.
basket.
All right.
It's in,
There you
it's
go.
in your, it's in your
Flour in the
jeans,
basket.
Sid. Yeah, a little
Boom.
basket.
Boom.
Hey.
Good.
Put the baby in the basket. There you go.
There you go. Good. Yeah. It was
Did we
easy, right?
sourdough?
Yeah, we
Did we
sourdough.
say? Yeah.
That was easy, right?
It was.
We're breaking the myths today. It's very approachable. It's very easy.
Okay, in 30 seconds,
30
how do we
seconds.
get from that thing to this thing?
So the next thing we need to do is we're going to score the bread.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is cut it with a little blade. That's going to allow the bread to expand to its full potential in the oven.
Okay.
So we're giving it a weak point.
All right.
So we're going to flip this out.
Just dive in there and show us how
Yeah,
it's done.
you do
Chef.
it.
Go
You
ahead.
do it because
Yeah.
we're running tight on time
Okay.
here.
Okay. So look, we're going to take our blade.
Okay.
One clean cut from here to here. There you go.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
You don't have to go too deep. Just give it a clean cut. Yeah,
Oh,
perfect.
yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm making the bread.
He's making
And
the
then we're
bread
just
this
gonna
morning.
fire that in the oven,
Wow.
add some steam, and
That's great, Chef.
And
That's
then you
pretty
get
easy,
the
right?
beauty of
Yeah.
all of it, what you see ahead of us. This is really, I mean, they're works of art. They truly are.
yeah,
You're
everything here is
phenomenal.
made with sourdough. It's all Natch 11.
Sorry,
It's
there's a BT
delicious.
bread. I missed that off the
Yeah.
front.
Yes,
there.
there's a BT bread.
I can't see that angle from here. I'm sorry. I just picked up on that now. Chef, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at Matthew James Duffy. YouTube is the same. And then I send a weekly newsletter to over 10,000 bakers with tips, recipes, tricks. And you can find all that through my website.
Awesome. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having me.
And now
Good
just
job.
on Zoom. I know years ago you were here on Zoom with BT and now in person. So
Yes.
we love that. Thank you
Okay.
for being
Thanks for
here,
coming
Chef.
in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, we're going to take a
Love it.
break.
Just-
We're going to wash the hands.
Yeah.
As we go to break, you sound off. It's April Fool's Day. I hate this day. Happy birthday, Tam. I love this day for Tam.
We love Tam.
The rest of the day is weird to me.
He doesn't like the jokes.
Where do you stand on the jokes? April Fool's Day pranks. Feedback at breakfasttelevision.ca. More BT coming up.